Hi, this is Brad. Welcome to another episode of Coffee for Closers. My guest today is Curtis Mackenzie, a veteran recruiter and entrepreneur here in Japan, and also co-founder of KPI Manager. Curtis, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me on the channel.
Yeah, so tell us a little about what is KPI Manager and how did you actually get it started?
So, as you know, I had a recruitment firm in Tokyo for about 12 years. And based on that experience and insights from running a team and sort of the challenges of growing the business, I had an idea about what would be a useful tool for recruitment owners. And so next, what we did for about 3 or 4 months, we did research with recruitment owners and asked them the question, interviewed them, and we're looking for pain points that sort of fit that thesis of what the issue was, which was basically productivity, right? A consistent day-to-day productivity from recruiters and billing, of course, right? A lot of companies were training up new people, they weren't working out and they're letting them go, or there just wasn't enough core productivity from the team. So KPI Manager came out of that. It's a tool to help run sales gamification based sales campaigns. So that's where the idea came from.
Okay. And what does it actually do?
Okay, so it's a standalone sort of a bolt-on tool. It's not a CRM system, so it adds on to your existing suite of software. It's a software tool. The campaign manager would be the owner of the business or a team leader. They set up a campaign. They invite participants, which would be the recruiters. They choose rewards and the KPI that they'd like to have in the campaign. So it could be client meetings, resume send-outs, interviews, etc. And then within that, there's software that allows all the participants to see the activity and compete in the game. There's a leaderboard with rewards. And then at the end, there's a randomized draw that selects winners based on the number of points that they earned.
Okay. Yeah, and obviously, when we chatted before, I've actually used this software myself in the app, and it's really good. I mean, what I really liked about it is that it really incentivizes, all the work that is put into building a pipeline and trying to, close a position, right? And we know, right, that like probably 80% of deals might fall short, right? But all of that work leading up to that is usually unappreciated. Or ignored because we're really only looking for the closing part of the placement, right? But that's what I really liked about it is when we used it with our team, we did have the gamification, and it was it was real data and real KPIs. We don't have a real rigid system of KPIs, but it was a good way to internally incentivize building the process of what we do in recruiting, right? Which is activity and trying to make placements, right?
Right.
So going into this sales of gamification, like, can you explain what is sales gamification and why does it work?
Right. So it's a pretty big industry. I think it's about a $10 billion industry in the world, the gamification of, let's say, business processes. Part of that would be sales. But it's basically introducing game-like elements into work processes. So things like point systems, rewards, audio cues, visual cues. Anyone that's played an app on their smartphone would know, I don't know what, so the puzzle games, there's rewards, there's levels, there's a competition element, and there's usually visual or sound cues that just get you to be active on a moment-to-moment basis. So that's the idea of gamification. In the context of sales and KPI, obviously, the gamification gets people to do that work on a moment-to-moment basis and increase their total activity. So that's the idea.
Okay. And what impact can KPI Manager in this app have on the business?
So going back to our research, it really is one of the major pain points of any recruitment firm, large or small, is getting recruiters up to billing speed, keeping them there, maintaining morale and retention of those performers. If you're not able to do that, you have turnover, you have retention issues, and you have to spend your entire time hiring and training new recruiters and getting them up to speed, right? Which can really undermine your ability to grow. So by gamifying activity, you're going to see impacts on morale, retention, and of course, the billing will increase. Hopefully you close more deals. And that's our tagline, is close more deals. Going back to your point about the pipeline and the small things, right? There's a lot of activity that you don't know is going to result in a deal until you look back at it, right? And so KPI Manager is trying to hack into that and increase the size of the pipeline, if that makes sense.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that we saw straight away, right? Is that I think going back to your retention, right? I think the people appreciate getting rewarded, or at least chasing tangible rewards, right? That might not turn into a placement, right? And I think that's definitely the big thing. So yeah, definitely your core three things. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, the big one is closing more deals. So a larger KPI pipeline results in a larger number of deals. Your average invoice on a placement is, let's say, somewhere around 10 to 30,000 US dollars per deal. If you can just increase your sales pipeline 25 to 30%, you're going to see a big return there. So that's the big one. Underneath that is the cost of retention and training and getting people who are underperforming back in the saddle and closing deals. That's harder to measure, but things like morale and retention are massive costs to an organization.
So how do people get started using the app?
Okay, it's very easy to set up and use. Go to our website, click Get Started. All you need is an email. The campaign starts with either the business owner or a team leader choosing who will be the participants. So you'll send invites to the participants. They will join into the activity page. When you set up the campaign, you need to decide what are the KPIs and what are the rewards and what are the points. Take you about 15 minutes to set that up, and then you're good to go. And you're all live on a shared activity page, adding KPIs and working together.
Well, great. Well, if anyone's interested in testing this app and using it, it is quite useful and it is a lot of fun as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out to Curtis directly or visit their website for the free demo. So Curtis, thanks again for explaining. Definitely looking forward to learning more about the app and using it down the road.
Thanks, Brad.
All right. So anyway, thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more great content from KPI Manager and Coffee for Closers. Thanks for watching.